Right now, Venezuela is caught in one of the most intense political showdowns in its modern history. A disputed presidential election has created a tense and unpredictable situation. But what's turning heads globally is the sudden buildup of US warships just off the Venezuelan coast. We're talking destroyers, submarines, marines, and even an aircraft carrier strike group. Wires, the United States deploying such major military assets near Venezuela. To understand this, we need to go back to the leadership crisis that started it all. In early Aling-Awu, Nicolas Maduro was sworn in for a third presidential term. However, his victory in the 2024 election was heavily disputed. Opposition, united behind their candidate Edmundo González Araujo, claimed he was the real winner. The international community was split right down the middle. Some countries recognized González as the legitimate president, while others continued to support Maduro. Inside Venezuela, the population was just as divided. Many believed Maduro's third term was illegitimate. Protests began to swell, and political tensions rose to dangerous levels. This left Venezuela in a precarious position, with two competing claims to the presidency and a deeply uncertain international standing. For decades, Venezuela has been a major oil exporter. It's also been a key strategic partner for Russia, China, and Iran. Geographically, it sits along critical maritime routes used by drug trafficking networks heading towards the United States. Washington has always had a complicated relationship with Caracas, a mix of sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and occasional cooperation. So, when Venezuela's internal crisis began to deepen, US attention naturally increased. But in 2025, that attention transformed into a major military deployment. 2. In August 2025, the United States ordered several warships to the Caribbean, positioning them near Venezuelan waters. The official explanation was an enhanced counter-narcotics operation, but these were not your typical patrol boats. The deployment included advanced Aegis-class destroyers, an amphibious assault ship carrying thousands of Marines, a cruiser, and even a nuclear-powered submarine capable of long-range strikes. This level of force is far beyond what's normally used for drug interdiction missions. Analysts immediately began to question whether the operation was really about narcotics, or if it was a calculated move to pressure the Maduro government during a moment of extreme political vulnerability. By September, the situation escalated even further. The US announced it had conducted targeted airstrikes on vessels in the Caribbean. The official line was that these boats were operated by narcotics traffickers linked to international criminal organizations like Deteriorate, which the US had just labeled a narco-terrorist group. But this raised a lot of questions. Were these strikes legal? How close were they to Venezuelan waters? And most importantly, were they intended to influence Venezuela's internal political situation? A response: Venezuela deployed its own naval vessels and military drones to patrol its coastline, accusing the US of threatening its national sovereignty. Then came an even bigger shift. In October, the United States deployed the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group into the Caribbean. This is a massive show of force. We're talking dozens of fighter jets, a full escort fleet of supporting warships, thousands of sailors, and some of the most advanced surveillance systems on the planet, all positioned just north of Venezuela. It was the largest US naval presence in the region in decades. Analysts agreed that this move sent a clear and unmistakable message. The United States wanted to be in a position to act quickly if Venezuela's political crisis spiraled further out of control. Venezuela's response was to launch its own military exercises. The government initiated an operation called Caribe Soberano 200, involving naval ships, aircraft, and militia forces. Venezuelan leaders issued stern warnings that any violation of their territory would be met with force. This created a dangerously tense environment, with two powerful militaries operating in close proximity, both claiming their motives were defensive, and both deeply mistrusting the other. Shoo. Officially, the US continues to maintain that the entire deployment is part of a large-scale anti-narcotics mission. But many experts believe there are deeper strategic motives at play. One major factor is countering foreign influence. For years, Russia, Iran, and China have provided economic, political, and military support to Venezuela, too. The US likely sees this as an opportunity to limit that influence in its own backyard. A second motive is undoubtedly political pressure. Deploying major military assets so close to Venezuela is a classic power play, likely intended to push Maduro into negotiations or weaken his grip on power internally. And a third motive is regional stability. Venezuela's ongoing crisis has already led to massive refugee flows, an increase in criminal activity, and potential security threats to neighboring countries like Colombia and Brazil. A powerful US presence could be aimed at containing that instability and preventing it from spreading across the region. So, what happens next? Looking forward, there are several possible outcomes. Diplomacy could de-escalate the situation if both sides agree to negotiations, perhaps with a neutral third-party mediator. On the other hand, a military accident or a simple miscalculation by either side could escalate the situation rapidly, leading to a direct confrontation that nobody wants. The internal politics of Venezuela could also shift dramatically. A change in leadership or a new political agreement could either ease the crisis or make it much worse. Or the US may simply decide to maintain this heightened military presence in the region for the long term, creating a new, tense normal. For now, both sides are watching each other very, very carefully. Neither government wants a conflict, but neither wants to appear weak. The situation in the Caribbean remains on a knife's edge, with the potential to evolve quickly depending on the next political, military, and regional developments. It's a high-stakes chess match, and the world is watching to see who makes the next move. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis on global events. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.